Hey, 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 what is up, greedy guts? It is I, your boy, Big Umami. Let me just fix a few things. There you go. Yeah, cool. So we're back live. I'm back in a hotel room, as you can see. And this is pretty much the only way I can do live streams right now, because obviously, as some of you might know, I'm in the process of moving houses. It's been a long, like 2 years, and it's still not ready. And I'll have a studio hopefully in the next year or so. And yeah, we're back. And I'm just gonna wait a while for a few of you to come on. It's pretty good. Okay, cool. So let me just turn down the music a little bit. Cool. So last week I started making this remix of a song I like very much, which is Monique's Mood by a band called Teeth Agency, which is a really incredible band formed by a session musician from Gorillaz, and this guy who was an antiquarian, and they struck this incredible team together. And yeah, basically what I did, let me just switch the views here. Yeah, as you can see here, I started this project, and let me just turn the music up a little bit. So yeah, I started this project last week, and what I realized is that I got lost in the sauce a little bit, and in the process of making music for a live audience, you're just trying to get something out. Basically, that's what you're doing. That doesn't really leave you much choice for or much room rather for critical thinking, and you just make music for the sake of making music. And sometimes you just pull the video back the next day and you listen to it and you're like, this is pretty trash. So I'm not saying this is complete trash here, but it's not the direction that I had in mind for this remix. So today I'm talking about the not so sexy side of music making on the not so sexy side of music making on YouTube. And yeah, when you make, sorry, let me just go back here. When you're making a video, sorry, not a live video, an actual edited video for YouTube, and it's a music video, you have all the time to go through a short list and work on some ideas, maybe write some copy for it, and then you start making beats. And if you don't like the beat that you're making, you have the time and the chance to make something more interesting, because obviously you want to get the best quality video for your viewers. And it doesn't matter what how many takes you have, as long as the final product is pretty good, and then you can edit it, and when it comes out, you look like $1,000,000, because you look like you made something incredible just with the snap of a finger, when in reality it probably took you like a week to make a decent beat. And so the live stream is something that really kind of challenges that, and because you're making a beat on the fly basically, and then you listen back to it and again it's pretty rubbish. So yeah, this is a chance to rework the little beat that I made last week. And straight away the next day I was still working, and while I was working I kept thinking about this beat, and I was like, it doesn't groove for me. And while I was working with other people, I was talking about my normal day job, and I had a blank face because I was thinking about how to improve this beat. And I went to the bathroom because I had an idea for a alternative beat for this tune, and I had to record it on my phone, which is absolutely, it's so dumb. But let me just show you. So this is the beat that I thought I would actually go and use on this remix. I had to go to the bathroom because, the idea struck in that moment while I was at work, and I excused myself. First stream V2, because I'm not dumb. I know that I might make something that is actually infinitely worse than this, and so I'm saving a copy. And then I'm gonna do something that looks very scary to lots of people, but I'm gonna delete all of this shit, and I'm just gonna go back to square one, and I'm gonna remake this beat, because this is what people do in real life. This is not YouTube. I mean, this is YouTube, but producers, musicians, they don't make great beats straight away on the fly like goddamn geniuses. I'm a very average musician, so anyway, you get what I mean. So let's try and recreate this beat that I thought in my head. Oh, and I'm singing on this as well. So let's start with the kick. Let's get a rhythm. So okay, let's go. Cool. So we have the kick here, and one thing that we can do is Command A, we select all, Command U, it quantizes it for you. And in the previous video, you can hear it's not swinging right. It's a bit clunky right now. And what I explained in the last video, if you missed it, is that it's because this original sample is not completely on beat, as you can see. So there are two ways of fixing this. One is to completely destroy the groove of this original sample by quantizing it. And I don't want to do that because I'm going to lose all the flavor of it. And the other thing is to extract the groove of this sample, and we can use it to make the kick swing in with the same type of groove, if that makes sense. So as you can see here, I've already done this. So let me just delete this, and we go to kick, and under the groove menu, I'm just going to select Monique's mood. The timing is 100%, so it's going to stick 100% to the original sample. And it's much nicer this way. So let's move on and let's listen back to it. Okay, so our next thing we need to do is to go here and work on a hi-hat. Okay, so I'm gonna actually let me just record this by hand. one thing that I did in the last video is to have this not as a trigger but as a gate. What is the difference between trigger and gate? I'm glad you asked. So basically, trigger, it means that anytime you press the note, the sample will play back from start to end, and that's it. But gate will stop the playback when you stop the actual note. So if I shorten this note, now it's gonna sound shorter. And this is a great way to actually create some movement. If you make this a bit longer, you get more variation. Let's just try that. And let's make this a bit longer as well. Let's make these a bit longer as well, because they're a bit too short. Let's do it like this. And one thing I like to have here is cool. So on this particular note, I'm gonna actually mute this. Cool. And I'll replace this with something weird like this. Oh, this is a nice, crazy little sound, isn't it? I would like to have this maybe in between, something like this. No. Let's use the same groove that we used on the kick. Cool. Let me just listen back to my original audio on my phone, and let's see if I can translate my crazy little idea that I had in the bathroom into something a bit more groovy in Ableton. So yeah, what we have here is some snares, some claps, some snares, and some ghost notes as well for those snares. Let me just, before I do this, let me just quickly check if I'm still online, because again, I am live from a hotel room, so I might just be not live. No, I am live. That's fantastic. Okay, let's move on. Let's do this. And let's go into drum rack, and we have cool. Cool. I'm gonna do something interesting right now. I'm gonna open up a new MIDI track, and I'm gonna rename this old MIDI track as a tops, meaning hi-hats, some sort of high-end frequency sort of percussion sounds, and I'm gonna use yet another drum rack here called snares and claps. And let me just go into instruments, drum rack, and spoiler alert. I'm gonna use some samples that I made myself, and they're surely gonna be on my next big sample pack called Big Umami Bombs Volume 1. So there's a little taste of it, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Now I just need to find it. Sound design, there you go, Big Umami Spices. I have nothing in claps yet. Let's go to snares. Oh yeah. I like this. I like this as well. I like this as well. I'm not convinced with this, so I'm gonna just mute it for now. I'm sorry, little quirky sound. Sorry. So So a good practice is to always have the snares exactly on here, and here, and here. We can always change it later, but at least before putting in the ghost notes, we can have the three. Sorry, am I doing this wrong? Sorry. At least we have the 2 and 4 always as a kind of guiding principle. And I knocked off my light, obviously. Just 1 second. Cool, great. So I completely destroyed my my main light. So yeah, now we have to do what we have. Let me just fix this because it's fucking bright, way too bright, so bright. And let me just adjust the temperature as well. And it should be okay. I'm falling apart here. All right. Hopefully, no more technical issue for the remainder of the stream. Anyway, where were we? Cool. So, what did I say about the snare? We need to have the snare on the 2 and 4 so that we can have an idea of what the groove sounds like, and then we can adjust it. And in this case, I like having some sort of UKG sort of vibes, and the way the UKG sort of vibe works is that you make the snare early, like that, like so. Sorry. So one way to then select all of these is to just press on the note. I'm gonna press Apple C and Apple V, and I'm gonna press down, and basically what it does, it duplicates this note, so I can layer it. Now it's gonna sound like so. And I'm not sure I want this sound as a reinforcement. Maybe I want this sound as a reinforcement. Let me just, no, I definitely want the other sound. Let me just, okay, yeah, that's what I want. Alright, so let's select them all again, and let's hear what it sounds like all together. Cool. Right, so it's now time for some compression on these bad boys. Let's go into let's go analog obsession. I very much enjoy the Brit presser, which is this one. Listen to this shit. Yeah. Cool. So I'm playing with the dry wet sort of signal, and the reason why you sometimes play with a dry wet signal is that when you use a compressor, sometimes you compress the sound a little bit too much, and especially with rhythm type sounds such as a snare or a kick or something, if you compress too much, then you lose all the bite, and all you're left with is the tail of the sound. But you need some transients, and you can also do something like this if you have a this plugin. It's fantastic. I'm talking about the Native Instruments, what is it called, Transient Master. You can actually turn the attack up, and this is not really a compressor, it's more of a, it is what it says it is. It's a transient master. You can decide how much attack and sustain you can get out of a sound. Yeah. And see, I put it before the compressor, but if I put it after the compressor, you can hear the attack. Yeah. In this case, I actually quite like it after the compressor, because again, I'm getting all the nice big tail end from the compressor, but I'm still preserving the attack. It's a bit of kind of a workaround. It's a bit of a convoluted way of achieving a sound, but I don't know, sometimes I like doing wrong stuff like this shit here, but I mean the results speak for themselves. Definitely punchier. I like the sustain a little bit. I actually like the sustain a little bit down. Also, I like to send this to some reverb. It's a bit too much. time to add some random shit to this. So yo. Sorry, it is not time to do that yet. We need to work on some ghost notes. So ghost notes are basically notes that are played at a much lower velocity. So you don't get the full like pa 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 of a snare. You get half of it. So one example of this is this thing that I'm doing right now. Oh, one thing I didn't do is put this groove as is assign the groove that I use on all the other tracks on this track as well. And up until now, it kind of didn't make much sense because the groove really affects all the notes that are not on 1, 2, 3, and 4 basically. So not this, not this, not this, not this, but everything in between, all the 16 notes are kind of affected by the swing, if that makes sense. So now that I'm selecting Monique's mood, you should hear this and this slightly more off to kind of mimic the original groove of the original sample. So hopefully it should sound a bit nicer. Yeah. Yeah. So this sounds pretty cool already, but I would love to have some more shuffly shit, some shuffly shit. So let's go into shakers. And I'm thinking we should probably get yet another drum rack because I want to be able to. I'm sorry, I'm burping a lot. But yeah, what I'm thinking is I would like to be able to control all of these tracks individually, and I usually don't do this. I usually have one drum rack with all with the kick and the snares and the tops and the shakers and everything all in one place because I'm a lazy bastard. But since I'm live streaming this, am I live streaming this? Yeah. I'm a bit low in terms of kilobyte per second, but anyway, hopefully you guys can see me all right. Cool. So yeah, as I was saying, I'm doing this. I should be doing this in the proper, correct way and not the lazy way. So let me just rename this to snares. And let me just get a new MIDI track, a drum rack. Where is it? Where am I here? Right here. Cool. Sorry, I got lost in the sauce for a second. Drum rack. And cool. So these are just some of the stock Ableton sounds. That sound pretty good though. But let me just go to my true and tried Slow-Fi House kits. Slow-Fi House samples. should have some shakers here. Yes, I do. What have I done? Oh yeah, that's what I've done. I'm definitely gonna use this. I'm definitely gonna chop this up and use this. I like this as well. Excellent. Beautiful. I'm just, throwing shit at the wall and see if it sticks. That's what I do. But, it is part of making beats. Again, to reiterate what I said before, don't be fooled by YouTubers who just, be fooled because it's part of the of being entertained. Not many people want to go through the whole process of just trial and error. Some people just want to be entertained and just want to see the final end result of a really nice track. But sometimes when you do these live videos, it's nice to just show you that it is a trial and error process. And if you don't like what you're doing, if you don't like how it sounds, it's fine. Just sleep on it and go back at it next day. It's completely okay. Especially if you're starting out, you're not supposed to be good at this at all. I've been doing this for fucking 20 years and I'm still shit at it. So, take that as a motivational speech, if you will. Just see if I'm recording as well. Yeah, I'm recording as well. Okay, cool. Cool. So this one, so what I've done is I've shortened this. It was a loop and I made it into a kind of a single shotty type of sound. One thing that I like to do with this kind of loops is I like the wonkiness of them, especially with shakers and tambourines and stuff like this. These are not things that are supposed to be straight. These are things that are supposed to be a bit wonky. That's what gives you the groove. So that's why I'm cutting it so roughly, because it doesn't need to be cut properly. Yeah. Like this one is definitely super fast. Yeah, it's 125. I'm currently at 115. So I don't want to use warp, because warp kind of destroys sound. So this is warp. If I do that, it will put it in a. It doesn't really destroy it, but I find it much more interesting to just use transpose, and it will, if you unclick warp and use transpose down, it will also affect the tempo. And if you go down, the tempo will go down. If you go up, the tempo will go up on the sample. So even if it's not precise, that's exactly what I want. I want wonkiness, just like the other sample. So let me just hear if it works. Yeah, it works. Cool. Now, here comes the fun part. Now that I've discovered that this is a decent kind of working tempo for this particular groove, I will switch back to gate, and that way I can control the start and end point. Sorry, it doesn't make much sense, but it will right now. So now if I just keep the gate down, being a longer sample, this is what it's gonna sound like. Not much. much, right? But if I do this, I'm gonna preserve the full kind of loop, but at the same time it gives me the freedom to actually stop the sound when the kick is a bit, you know, early, because the kick is not right here in this particular beat, is here. So this is what I'm gonna do. Let me just show you. It's gonna make much sense when you hear it. See? And now I can do cool stuff like this. I can like make some stop and go sort of sounds. So let me just see what it sounds like without this. Yeah. And now that, you know, the main loop is back on, it sounds like shit again. So again, this is the trial and error. This is the not very sexy part of the internet. So I guess I'm gonna take my L here and let me just mute the whole thing and let's try something else. And hopefully this time I've learned my lesson and I should play this, you know, percussion parts with the main loop turned on. Let's have a little play. Cool. Let's try it like this. Okay. Remember that we have the extracted sorry, I can't speak today. The extracted groove from the main sample. Basically this, you can see this is like 4/16 notes in and of itself, if that makes sense. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So this one has its own internal groove, and since I'm just deciding to play this back as a single sample, it won't be affected by the extracted groove that I extracted for the main sample. And you know, even if I'm using it on this track, this won't be affected because it's a quarter long and it's got its internal groove. Does it make sense? Hopefully it does. But now I've used this as a single sample and I'm repeating it as a 16th, you know, as multiple 16th notes, but it should be able to register this groove. So let's try it. It's a bit too much. Let me just we can work with this though. We can work with this definitely. So first of all, we turn it down. Good. Let's make it a little bit sorry. let's make it a little bit less busy, if that makes sense. Let's take some notes away. Let's turn the velocity up a bit here. This sounds okay now. As you can see, I'm turning the transpose up quite a lot. That gives me two things in turn. It's not just a note, a pitch thing. It's, first of all, it shortens the sample, so it's not that, aggressive and in your face. But also, turning the note all the way up, it eliminates a lot of the low end, which I don't want, because this is a shaker. But originally it was like this. And that's way too busy, if that makes sense, a bit too much. But +9, it's starting, +9, it's starting to sound like a normal shaker. Cool. And now let's play around with some more stuff like this. Let's put these ones kind of tambourine. Now we're gonna try something a bit even more extreme. We're gonna put some tambourines on the one that I cut roughly, and if we don't like the way this sounds while the sound is looping, we can adjust the start and end point, because Ableton is awesome. So we'll do just that until it sounds right. Enjoying this quite a bit, and let's finish this drum beat with something a bit quirky. I've got some very quirky sound here. I like this. sounding quite strange and quite weird and quite funky, and I really like it. I also much prefer this to the previous version, but it does need a lot of mixing. And again, this is part of the thing of showing you the really not sexy part of YouTube, beat making. If I was on a non-live show right now, I would probably just basically finish this on my own, and record the whole thing and select just the things that I prefer, and the end result and everything like that. But we are live, and I'm gonna keep on going for 10 more minutes. I'm gonna record some bass, and I'm gonna try and do the best mixing that I can, but it's probably not gonna sound great, and that's okay. That's what you do when you're making music. It's not supposed to be easy. Anyway, let's get back to it. The one thing that I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna put a compressor on the whole drum group, because it's very important. Everything is sounding a bit too much. How can I say this? It's not gluing together all that much. One thing that you can do to make it glue a little bit better is to use a compressor. And the reason why the glue compressor on Ableton is called a glue compressor is basically that, because it makes things glue together. So let me just go into dynamics, glue compressor. Let's go. Cool. One thing that I like to do is to turn the filter a bit down. Yeah, because it was a bit too harsh before. Yeah. Now it's nice and vintage sounding. Speaking of vintage, we should go into plugins, and we should go to one of my favorite plugins, which is, as you might know already, the vinyl thing. I'm gonna put the noise all the way down and the crack all the way down, because all I need is the kind of drive, the kind of distortion that vinyls give you. You can hear it right here. Cool, so it's quite late, so I'm gonna add some bass and I'm gonna call it a day or a night. I've destroyed a light, and probably destroyed this track as well, because it was very nice to begin with, and now I've remixed it, and it is what it is. But anyway. And the one trick that I showed you last week was to turn the octaves of the bass all the way up, so that you can hear the actual notes. Because sometimes when the bass is an octave too low, you can't really hear the notes properly. resize it, put it into the groove, and then you can press shift and arrow down 1 time, 2 time, 1 time, 2 time. Sorry guys, I'm just having fun. thank you guys. This has been a lot of fun. I don't know how many people actually managed to watch the whole thing. Thank you, Mr. Rizzetti. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Mwah.